Hello everybody, welcome back to my booktube. I am a romance reader and I love all things to do with books, so if you do like that sort of content, don't forget to subscribe and let's get into the video. So for today's video, I thought I'd show you all of my 5-star reads, and these are the books that I absolutely love. So the first book is Love on the Brain. Now this is the one that got me back into reading again as an adult, because once I'd read this book I was like, right, I need to start going back out and buying books again and being obsessed, because this one just had me hooked right from the beginning. I absolutely loved it. So Ali Hazelwood does write a lot about girls in STEM and women in STEM. There's a few other books that doesn't, but particularly it's women in STEM. And this one in particular is about a woman that wants to work for NASA, and she gets this opportunity to work for NASA, but she has to work along this other boy called Levi, which she's like, oh, he's my boss and I don't really want to know, and she hates his guts. And they have to sort of work together even though she doesn't want to. But then it comes across as they work out their love story, and I just loved it. And even though it is a love story book, there is a little bit more drama to it, and that's what I liked. I like the suspense, I like the guessing, and that's what I loved about this book. And this is an enemies to lovers book, which is a trope I absolutely love. I love the idea of they want to absolutely throttle each other before they get together, and I love that. So yeah, this one is the one that got me back into reading, and I'll always recommend this because of that, because it's just, I love it. My second 5-star read has to be The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. This one is just such an easy read and I flew through it very, very fast. This is a best friends to lovers story. Basically, they know each other from school and they sort of grow up as best friends, and they stayed best friends even into adults. And then B wants to be a dancer and stuff, and she ends up teaching these kids to dance because she can't actually do it herself because she had an accident when she was younger. And then we have Nathan, who is a NFL player and he plays his football and stuff. And then they have to start fake dating because Nathan's agent wants his status to go up a little bit more, so they start fake dating, and that's how their story begins. And this one, I must have read about 200-300 pages all in one go because it was just so good and I loved it, and it was such a quick read. I must have read it in like 2 or 3 days, and that's quite quick with me. So yeah, The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. If you love the best friends to lover trope, you'll more than likely like this one. The next one is With This Kiss by Carrie Fletcher. Now I have seen quite a lot of negative reviews about this book, about people not liking it and there's no romance and blah 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 in it, but I actually really enjoyed it. I like the story of it. So this one follows a girl that has this special power where if she kisses somebody she finds out how they die, which is kind of sad to know. But this one follows more of her story and her storyline, and basically how she deals with it more than the romance side, even though there is a bit of romance in it because she does meet somebody in the story. But I feel like it focus on her and her as a person and how she copes with it. But I really like that. I liked this book. I liked the way it was, you know, it was kind of guessing and there was a little bit of a twist at the end. And yes, I just really like this one. I bang on about this all the time because it was just so good and I read this so fast. I've not heard a lot of good things about this book, but for me, I absolutely loved it. And the next one is Two Wrongs Make a Right. Now I've banged on about this in the past couple of videos of mine on here, and I absolutely love it. This is the enemies to lovers trope as well as fake dating. It also talks about neurodivergent characters, which again a lot of people can relate to, I think. And this one is more of a realistic story of what would happen in the real world. And even though some people don't like that, I really enjoyed it and I really like this book, and I have read it twice now, and I would more than happily read it more and more and more because this is just Jamie. Has my heart. I love him. The next one is Key to My Heart by Lia Louis. Now I have heard a few reviews on this of people not liking it, and then others are like, yeah, I actually really liked it, I really loved it, I love the story. And for me, I loved it as well. This one doesn't have any spice in it, but I feel like the story's good enough without it. So this is about a woman that is currently grieving her husband because he's just died, and she's like, I don't want to do anything, I don't want to get up. Like, she's lost all her passion, she's lost all the things that she's interested in. She's like, I don't want to do anything. And then a friend's like, come on, you need to sort of like get out of this slump now because you're just going to dig yourself a bigger hole. And then eventually she starts pulling herself up again, and then she starts going to this music group, and then this is where she starts talking to somebody, and it kind of follows her love story to find the one again. And even though, again, like I said, there's no spice in it, I just think this was such a heartwarming story to read, and I absolutely loved it. So there is that one. And the next one is Things We Hide from the Light. Now if you do follow me on Book Talk, then you know that I did not like the first one. I absolutely hated the first one, did not like it at all. I think it was mainly the characters and the way that a lot of the stuff was described. So for example, if they walked into a room, it went into a lot of depth of what the room looked like, and I feel like it's not really necessary, so I feel like that's why I didn't like it so much. This one was a lot better because of the way that it was wrote. You know, it was straight to the point, the characters were on point for me, the woman was a strong-headed, you know, like, you're not doing that to me sort of thing. And Nash was just, he was so gentle and calm, whereas I think the other characters in the other book were just not a bit of me, and I feel like that's why I didn't like it so much. But this one I absolutely loved, and I can't wait to read the last one, and I'm hoping it's just as good as this one, because this one is just beautiful. So the next one is This Spells Love by Kate Robb. Now this is a recent read of mine. Again, I've not heard a lot of people talking about this, but when I read it, oh my god, this is a bit of like a spiritual witchy sort of vibe of story, and I really like that because it's a friends to lovers, because she meets her ex-boyfriend with another man, but that man then becomes her best friend while she's going out with her ex-boyfriend, if that makes sense. And then she splits up with her ex-boyfriend but still friends with the other man. She wants to not meet him and stuff like that, so then she ends up in this parallel world where she's like, right, I've not met him, but then she doesn't technically meet the best friend either, and she has to regain the friendship to start something off. So yeah, this one I absolutely loved it. It took me 2 days to read, 3 days, and again, I've not heard anybody talking about it, but this is so good, and it is a nice October read, spooky read, sort of. I mean, as this video goes up, it probably won't be October, but you know, it's still this. So yeah, and also this is the only book that I have that's sort of like floppy. All my rest of my books are not like this, so I'm so glad I like this one because I got to keep it. So the next one is Night Shift by Annie Crown. I really enjoyed this book. A lot of people said it came from Wattpad. I didn't know that before I read it, but even so, I really liked it, and I feel like it had a similar vibe to the After series, which I know the After series did come from Wattpad in the first place and then came into books. But I feel like this is a similar vibe, and I really enjoyed it. Again, it was sort of like an enemies to lovers, but not really, because to begin with, when they sort of started talking, it was just a bit of, oh, I'm just gonna have a bit of a feel in the library, and then they went off, and then she's like hating him for no reason, and then he was like, oh, I don't know whether to talk to her or not, I don't really know what to do. So I don't feel like it was enemies to lovers as such, but it was a little bit. But yeah, this is a nice fluffy giggly sort of YA sort of book, and I really enjoyed it. So there's Night Shift as well. Then the last book is Never Lie by Freida McFadden. This is my very first Freida McFadden book. I've never read a thriller book in my life, and I never thought I ever would. However, I found this as an ebook on my tablet on Kindle, and I thought, you know what, let's just see, let's just, you know, try it out. I had Prime, so this was on Prime Reading, and I thought, oh, let's just give it a go and see what it's like. Never read a blurb or anything like that, but oh my god, I read it in 4 hours flat. So I read the whole book in one sitting, and I couldn't stop. And I really thought that thriller books, mostly thriller books, was all like scary and gory and they went into too much detail, and that's why I wouldn't read them, because I was like, oh, I'm not really interested in that. This one doesn't. This one is a mystery thriller, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed it because it kept me guessing all the way through, and I was like, oh, it's this person, it's this person, it is definitely this person. By the time I got to the end, I was like, no, it's not. It's not that person, and the person that it was, I was not expecting it at all. So we have Never Lie by Freida McFadden. I would recommend you reading these books if you want to get into thriller books and maybe mystery thrillers, because this is where I started. This is my very first one, and I never thought I'd ever like it, so I recommend this one as your first one because I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. It kept me guessing all the way through, and I'm now on another book of hers because I can't stop reading them. So yeah, this is the last book of my 5-star reads. So they are my 5-star reads, and I absolutely love them, and I would recommend you to read them because I just, oh my god, they are my favourite ever. Let me know what books are your 5-star reads in the comments below, and if you did enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.